we go to our open forum, and I would like just to remind everybody again to use the chat box and kindly identify who you are, state your name and also the organization that you belong to, and then also include to whom are you trying to ask the question from the three presenters that we have now in session 2. Okay, we'll be waiting for your questions, but in the meantime, we have one question here. It's for, I think it's for Rudy to Ubaben. The question is from Sunimal Chandrasiri of Sri Lanka. The question is, this is, I think, for Rudy, for Umaben. The question is how to manage quality aspects of the produce at the rural business in brand Rudy. Ubaben, can you reply to this question? Ubaben.
Umaben, you are muted, Umaben, if you are.
Seems like Ubaben is okay. Maybe we can ask the question later. But who else have questions?
Sorry, now I can able to unmute.
Yeah, thank you. Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yeah, I understand the question. How we are branding. Branding is a expensive process for the small social enterprises. What we are doing this, the Rudiben who is selling in the rural areas household, she's staying in the same villages and the nearby covering 100 household per day. First thing we are doing the mouth-to-mouth brand promotion among the members, among the customers. And also second thing is we are using the rural, generally rural branding. We are painting the wall painting. We are distributing pamphlets. We are also doing the street plays, explaining about the Rudy product among the awareness of the village product. We are also, we called Gram Vikas meeting. It means village meeting once in a month. We are so with the support of village leaders and government stakeholders, we are organizing a meeting and household and display our product, telling about the product information and making the customers and supplying to the customers. Apart from this, we are also making posters and distributing. Some of the women innovatively organizing the route plan and 4-5 to Rudiben together, taking the whole goods and hiring a transport and visit to village and organizing the exhibition also. This is the way we are doing right now. At the moment, without expenses we are doing, the investment comes only the promoting the publicity material and the Rudiben case studies. They like Mubarak when we are showing the film everywhere in the villages, so other can get it motivated. This is the way we are doing right now. We are not doing any kind of multi-level public newspapers and video. These we are all not. We have our own videos and showing to our members, when the visitors also who were coming to our office. This is the way of doing right now brand promotion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Maben. And for lack of time, because we're running a bit late on our schedule, we'll be entertaining 2 questions. The first question is the second question, is to Mr. Guangsu from NPUST, Angus Wong from Malaysia. The question is, I'm aware to the food waste presented. How the Korean government would solve the food waste problem? This is, I think, uh, this is asked to Mr. Guangsu of NC of Korea.
Okay, for the food waste, it is a legally bounding. I mean, we have a food waste basket in every family, every home. It is collected regularly. In our apartment, we have a big food waste bins. So the municipality and the town and city levels, they collect the food waste with the waste bins. And in some municipal, they treat them as the fertilizer. And in some rural area, they utilize them as the feed for the pigs and some animals. But yeah, so for the food waste, it is the government has a strong initiatives, but in the producer levels, we sell the defective products with the bulk to the customers. From my experience, I have the fruit juice every morning. I drink fruit juice every morning with homemade. I buy the defected apples and pears. I make my own juice with the defected the fruits.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Guangsu. And the next question, I think, is to Sam of FSBC. It's a question from Chris Paes from the Philippines, and it says, I would like to ask Sam the investment for the development of their brand.
Yes, for FPSDC, for farms and cottages in particular, um I'm not quite exactly sure of the figures, but the cost for coming up with the brand is really not that expensive. There are only several fees being charged by in the intellectual property office, but consider it is somehow insignificant. It's not really something that is really expensive, but what we do is that while the costs for coming up with a brand is not that expensive, what we do is that every year we have our brand appraised by a third party certification, because we were told that in every year, as the value of your product increases, so does the price of your own brand. So while we start off with the brand in coming up with a brand that costs very minimally, through the years it really what do you call this, it gains value through the year. So yes, and to answer the question, it's the investment is not really that demanding for coming up with a brand.
Yes. Thank you, Sam. And
you.
since you are already there, there is another question here for you. Maybe the last two. We'll entertain these last two questions. What kind of support did you FSDC got from government? Okay, it's from Rabin Rai of Nepal.
Yes. Being for FPSDC, speaking for FPSDC alone, being a cooperative, our funds are really majority of our funds are generated from our members' capital. So the capital that we use in all operations are mainly from our members. So, however, the government, perhaps through CDA, they are the regulatory body of cooperatives here in the Philippines. They get to link us if there are grants available from other organizations. One would be the linking from CDA, and of course the policies that they do for the development of cooperatives. But in the financial aspect, the funds that we use for our operations are mainly from our members.
Thank
And
you.
if I may add, sorry, sir,
Okay.
earlier also I've mentioned that perhaps other government agencies also that help us would be the Department of Trade and Industry, specifically for our efforts in export and the like. And then there are also certain projects that DA offers, not only for FPSDC but for the cooperatives in the Philippines, especially those in the agricultural sector. So those are just few of the very many support that we get to tap from the government here in the Philippines. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sam. And for the last question, also coming again from Chris Paez from the Philippines. Question is, NACF has its own centralized brand and its member co-ops also have their individual brands. How do you avoid competition if there is any with your local co-ops? For Kwangsu.
This is the agricultural cooperative logo, and as I mentioned, our membership is around 90% of the whole Korean farmers. So we cannot get every members get prospered together, because there is a limited market shares. They have to compete each other. So we are encouraging them to compete each other with the good qualities, and that's all we can do, because our farmers, even though they distribute through the agricultural cooperatives, they sell not through the agricultural cooperative brand. Sometimes they sell through our competitors brand. So we encourage our member cooperatives to make their brands more valuable and the quality control. That's all we can do.
Thank you for that, for your reply. And again, that will be our last question for this session. Thank you to the speakers, and also thank you to those who have asked their questions. I hope the replies were satisfactory to all of us.